Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the CarveCast. I have just returned from an absolutely epic 3-week ski adventure. I went to Chamonix, I went to Saas Fee, I went to Zermatt, I went to Cervinia, I went to Tignes, I went to Val-d'Isère. So I have been to quite a few places over the last 3 weeks. And more importantly, I have skied and skied and skied. When I go skiing, I ski from first lift to last lift. I don't really drink alcohol, so I'm not like an après person. I am really just there for the skiing. Now, obviously I like a bit of food. I like a nice bit of food especially, but most of the time I don't tend to stop too much during the day. I tend to have an evening meal and not so much during the day. So I ski quite literally all through the day, and I haven't had a day off since I arrived to the entire time all the way through to when I have just literally got back. And today I have spent the whole day doing things that my wife wanted me to do. So things like clearing up the leaves, sorting out the lawn, cleaning the cars inside and out, doing all that kind of stuff, because she's been holding the fort, bless her, for the last 3 weeks. Not so much as a tiny little complaint. So the least I could do was come back and get on with all of the blue jobs and get all of that stuff done, which I have done. So it's been a very, very productive day. But because of the immense amount of skiing that I have done over the last 3 weeks, at my age especially, my body is really feeling the kind of push from all of that skiing. Like everything's tight, I'm tired, my muscles hurt. So yeah, I'm not complaining, because it is a first world problem to have achy muscles and a bit of a seized up body after 3 weeks of the most glorious skiing you could ever imagine, but it's still just a fact. Now, I've put away loads of my ski equipment, and I've got so much to tell you guys about. The Stomp It Camp, I've just done another one, which was my second one. I did an episode a couple of episodes ago with my wife. She did her first one in Hintertuck, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Chamonix, we're going to talk about Zermatt, we're going to talk about Cervinia, we're going to talk about Val-d'Isère, we're going to talk about Tignes, we're going to talk about Saas Fee. We're going to talk about all of these different places, not in too much detail, but just little bits and pieces that I wanted to point out to anyone who's interested in going. I want to talk about skiing at this time of year as well. A lot of questions I get around skiing at this time of year, and I wish that I'd have made some more episodes while I was away, but I just did not get time. Even though I was on my own, I had a lot of commitments in terms of like stuff to do with content, friends, like just lots and lots of bits and pieces. So didn't get time to put up some CarveCasts, but over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to hopefully make up for that and put some episodes out for you guys. We're also going to talk about 3D printed insoles. I've also got some gear here that I want to talk to you guys about. So we're going to talk about like gear later on in the episode, which I'm very, very excited about. I do love ski gear. I've got to stop saying I love gear, because people write funny comments below. I love ski gear. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff as well. We're going to talk about what are the current conditions at the moment around the Alps, and what is the skiing like. What have we got to look forward to over the coming weeks? And then literally in 2 weeks tomorrow, I'm off on another ski trip with loads of my friends and family for 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that as well. Nothing in too much detail today. We're just going to kind of glance over a few of these subjects. If anyone would like to see more detail and see all of the content that I've been putting up over the past few weeks, and there is a lot, you can find all the links to that down in the video description if you're on YouTube, or in the show notes if you're on Spotify or podcasts. All the links are there for all of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this episode. So if you are interested in that, then go ahead and click those links and take a look at my social media, because I am pretty relentless with the ski content. So let's get on with my trip that I've just been on. So I basically drove to Chamonix and I got on the Euro tunnel. So we drive to a place called Folkestone in the UK. literally drive the van, in my case van, I've got like, I call it the ski van, onto the train. The train goes under the channel and comes up in Calais in France, and then I drive from there all the way down into the Alps. And it's usually about an 8-hour drive from Calais to somewhere in the Alps, depending on where you're going. Now, my first stop was the beautiful town of Chamonix. And I did this exact same thing last year as well. Now, I left early, so this is now late November, headed down to Chamonix. It's a good place to go to first because it's one of the first places that you come to essentially if you're sort of heading towards the Alps. And Chamonix is just a beautiful, beautiful town. I absolutely love Chamonix. You can go to Chamonix in the summer, the autumn, the winter, the spring, whenever it is, and regardless of skiing, you'll have a nice time in the town and the surrounding areas. It's a beautiful place. So even if you're not a skier, you probably are if you're listening to this podcast, but even if you're not, Chamonix is a lovely place to go to. And in fact, even in the summer, if you want to go to a beautiful place in France, you can do a couple of days in Lake Annecy, a couple of days in Chamonix, and that is a lovely trip. Lots of cycling, lots of walking, lots of trekking. It's a great place to go. And the town of Chamonix is right up there in my sort of top 3 favourite ski type towns. So yeah, Chamonix I absolutely love. Now, whenever I plan these early trips, I always look at the Chamonix opening dates, and both this year and last year, they are meant to open Grand Montée at a certain weekend at the end of November, but only for the weekend, and that is their like opening, sort of pre-opener weekend, if you like. And last year, it got cancelled because of high wind, so I missed out last year. But don't get me wrong, I still loved my time in the town, but I would have liked to have skied Chamonix because I've never skied it before. This year I did exactly the same thing and it was cancelled again. So still to this day I have not skied anywhere in Chamonix. I missed out yet again and they pushed it back a week, by which time I was already in Zermatt. But still loved my time in Chamonix, enjoyed it very much, was not disappointed with the town. I always love it there. But yeah, I would have loved to have been able to do a tiny bit of skiing just for a day, but it was not to be. So maybe I will try again next year and see if I'm more lucky, or more to the point, see if the snow gods can give me some favourable conditions when I arrive there early season next year, if I do that again. Now, once I've finished in Chamonix, I'm starting to head off now towards Zermatt, and quite literally on the way to Zermatt is the ski town and ski resort of Saas Fee. Now, a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about Saas Fee, and we'll come back to those in a minute, but the Saas Fee village itself, I think, is actually a really lovely, picturesque village, and the surrounding mountains are beautiful, and the ski area itself, even at late November, because it's a glacier resort, there's still a decent amount open, and especially this year, the whole of the Alps has had some early snow and some good amounts of snow early. The conditions were fantastic up at the top of Saas Fee. The negatives of Saas Fee are really that the ski area is kind of a little bit disjointed. The lifts are quite archaic, and to get up to the top is very long-winded, I must admit. So yeah, there is that. But once you're up there, it is a really nice ski area. I thoroughly enjoyed my day in Saas Fee, and I enjoyed my evening time as well in Saas Fee. There's some lovely restaurants in Saas Fee, beautiful views, nice ski shops, a couple of other little shops around as well. It's a lovely sort of carless town, much like Zermatt. It's very easy as well to get around and to get to. You basically drive up to Saas Fee, you go straight into a car park, you park in the car park. There's free buses down into the village, or you can get taxis, or if you're staying in a hotel, they might come and get you. And yeah, you leave your car there, and they bring all your stuff down, or you bring all your stuff down, go to your hotel, and then obviously you can go off, get your ski ticket and go ski. But the actual ski area itself, like I said, is really, really nice. It's more the lift system that could do with some serious updating and a bit of rethinking about the whole sort of logistics of it, if you like. But don't not go to Saas Fee off the back of that, especially if you're just going and you're on your way somewhere else, especially Zermatt, because Saas Fee is literally just a little stop just before Zermatt. So if you are driving to Zermatt or even going on the train, it can be worth maybe even just doing a day or an overnighter in Saas Fee first, just to mix up that a little bit. But that's coming from someone who quite likes to go to different places on trips, not just stay in one place. So yeah, Saas Fee was lovely. I enjoyed it. There's some amazing visuals up there when it comes to the glacier. There's literally this huge glacier wall, and it is just this most striking thing. It's really, really stunning. So yeah, Saas Fee, ups and downs, mostly ups. I still think it's worth popping there for a couple of days. And I mean, if for whatever reason you do want to go there for longer, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. You just have to kind of deal with the sort of disjointed topography of the whole thing. It's a bit of a pain, but most importantly, there was early snow all around the Alps, and Saas Fee itself, especially the Northern Alps where Saas Fee is, the snow was incredible. Very few people there, and I love skiing at that time of year. Oh, by the way, skiing in late November, December, I've done it a few times now, and it is brutally cold, or it was when I went, and I'm talking in Saas Fee and Zermatt, easy -10, -15 degrees at the top without wind chill. So if you are going to do that kind of early season skiing, all the times that I've done it, it's been brutally cold during that transition from November to December. So just bear that in mind. Now, once I finished at Saas Fee, I headed over to Zermatt. Now with Zermatt, you drive your car to a place called Tash. Tash has got a really, really lovely car park. I know it sounds a funny thing, but if you went there, you'd understand what I mean. It's got a really lovely car park. You park your car there, you go get a trolley, which costs 5 francs. You get your money back, but you have to have a 5 franc coin. So if you do ever go there, make sure you do have that 5 franc coin. Grab your trolley, put all your stuff on the trolley, wheel the trolley to the train, get on the train, clip the trolley into the train, and it's about a 10-15 minute train to Zermatt. And then when you get to Zermatt, I literally push my trolley to my hotel, unless I'm getting picked up by one of the hotel buggies, and I just push my trolley to the place that I'm staying. In this case, I had an apartment, and I pushed my trolley to there, unloaded, pushed the trolley back to the station, got my 5 franc coin back, ready for the trip home. So Zermatt, I was there for just under 2 weeks. Zermatt, as you guys know probably, is my favourite place in the world. It's not necessarily my favourite skiing in the world, but it's my favourite ski town, and it's my favourite ski resort if you bring everything together, the skiing, the town, the people. Like, if you bring it all together, Zermatt is my favourite place. Yes, there are other places potentially that I prefer to ski, but then they don't have all of the other things in the way that Zermatt does to go alongside it. And I've made a lot of friends in Zermatt. I have quite a lot of sort of social stuff that goes on in Zermatt. So yeah, Zermatt to me is the one. So let's just talk about the conditions that I had in Zermatt. Now, usually at this time of year, there is less stuff open. But actually this year, because they had all this early snow and not too much high wind, there was a lot open, and the stuff that was open was sensational. The snow conditions, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating either. It was perfect every single day. That beautiful crunchy snow beneath your feet. Yeah, if you went down lower, there was some hard pack where it was, you know, it was just basically the base with some man-made snow over the top. But for the most part, it was sensational. Loads of Cervinia was open, and if you buy your international pass, you can just ski straight over the top, up to 4,000 meters, down the other side. And the runs that you get into Cervinia and into Val-d'Isère and from the top back into Zermatt, they're literally tens of kilometers long in some cases, and they are sensational. I love Cervinia. I love skiing in Cervinia. The runs over there are just something else. They're just huge, great big motorways, nothing too steep, just great for sort of practicing carving, for getting on with practicing your technique, which I like to do a lot of. and I just love skiing over there, and everything way cheaper on the Italian side as well. On my Stomp It Camp, I bought everybody a coffee. There was like 7 or 8 people in our group, including the instructor and whatnot, down in Cervinia in my favourite cafe called the Liscum. And it's actually a hotel, but they have a cafe down below, and they do the most sensational hot chocolate you've ever seen. Check out my social media and you'll find it. But yeah, went down there, got coffee and a couple of croissants. So like 8 or 9 coffee stroke hot chocolates, couple of croissants, and it was 25 euros. Now in Zermatt, that would easily cost you 60 odd francs, so 60 odd pounds. So the fact that you could get all of that for like 25 euros over there is mental, and it just shows you how good the value is in Italy, and Cervinia especially, because if you want like the benefit of Zermatt, but without actually paying the ridiculous amount of money that it can cost, it doesn't have to, but it can cost to go there. Cervinia is such a great option because you can ski over into Zermatt. You can go there every day, providing it's open. You can enjoy the town of Zermatt. You can enjoy the beauty of Zermatt. You can enjoy the Matterhorn from the Swiss side, which is much nicer than the Italian side. Plus, you can enjoy the amazing skiing in Cervinia as well, and the height, the altitude that Cervinia is at 2,000 meters resort level. It really is just such a good value place to go. And if anyone is interested in going there, I have a friend online and he has an apartment there. So if you do want to go over there and you want to stay in a lovely apartment that's really, really good value, then check this out. On Instagram, it's called Cervinia Bardoney Ski Lodge, Bardoney Ski Lodge. He's not paid me or anything to say this, but he's got a lovely, lovely little apartment over there, and I would highly recommend going over there, staying there, and you'll have such a good value trip. Now, just touching on the cost of Zermatt a little bit, we're going back to Zermatt in January, me, my wife and my daughter, and everyone thinks of Zermatt as being this ridiculously expensive place, and it can be. Do not get me wrong, it can be as expensive as you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. We quite often take our own food, literally, or you can even buy your own food at one of the supermarkets there, and there's 3 supermarkets. Coop is the most expensive. Then you have Migros, which is the second most expensive, and then you have the other one which begins with a D, which I've forgotten the name of, which is the least expensive. So you can buy stuff from there, but you can also take your own stuff with you in, cases or luggage or boxes or whatever from the UK, put it on your trolley and take it up to your apartment with you. Don't stay in a hotel, stay in an apartment, for example. Take your own lunches, make your own dinners. That is the most expensive part of Zermatt, is the lunches, the dinners, the drinks, the food. That is the most expensive part. When it comes to accommodation, you can find some really, really good value accommodation. I think we're staying in an apartment in January for, I think it's 5 days, 6 nights or something like that, or 4 days, 5 nights, whatever it is, something like that. And it's about £600. So I know that's not cheap, but I think, £100-ish a night is actually very good value. And when you look at the place we're staying, it's actually quite nice, and it's in a fantastic location. So if you make your own food, take your own food, whatever you want to do, bring your own drinks, and not eat on the mountain every day. Don't go to the self-service restaurants. They are an absolute rip-off. Ridiculously expensive. If you want like something simple like schnitzel, chips and a Coke, you're looking at £30 easy, maybe more. So yeah, take your own stuff, and it can be actually as cheap as you would like it to be, as cheap as other resorts. Now obviously your ski lift pass, it is fairly expensive. You're looking at around £90 a day, including insurance and the international pass. So that is that. But I think it's under 10s, I think they ski completely for free. So that's another, really good incentive for those people with younger families. But yeah, without going on and on about it, you can do these things relatively cheaply, and we will be doing exactly that when it comes to January. And a lot of the time, the stuff you make and whatnot is better than what you're getting in a self-service restaurant. If you're going out to a really lovely sort of a la carte restaurant, and there's plenty of them in Zermatt, then obviously their food is usually very, very good, and you're not potentially going to make that yourself, but obviously that comes at a price. In Zermatt, they do have an amazing kebab shop, so check that out. That is fairly cheap as well. And there is a place called Grampy's, and if you go there and have pizza, you can get good value pizza there as well. So yeah, Zermatt, the conditions were unreal. Cervinia was unreal. Cervinia is a great place to go and stay if you want to do it on more of a budget, but still get some of the benefits of Zermatt. And my Stomp It Camp, I'm not going to go over that too much again, but this time I was with a coach called Jimmy, or James, who is actually the twin brother of my instructor from last year, Dave. Had a great time, met up with my friend Benji, did loads of skiing, learned loads of new stuff, improved my skiing, improved my carve score, which I'm really pleased about. And yeah, overall, thoroughly enjoyed it. I skied hard though in Zermatt for 2 weeks, and obviously the day that I did in Saas Fee. So I was kind of tired by the time I got to the end of it. And then on the last day I drove to Val-d'Isère, and I had another week in Val-d'Isère. And Val-d'Isère I love. I absolutely love Val-d'Isère. Val-d'Isère, the town is beautiful. Loads and loads of nice stuff going on. If you like après, there's loads of that. There's loads of amazing cafes. There's loads of amazing shops. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. But most importantly, the skiing in Val-d'Isère, I just love it. I absolutely love it. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Nearly everything was open. Some things did start to close as the week went on because they've got the World Cup there this weekend. So certain slopes did start to get shut down for people training, and also for the actual World Championship itself, the slope they use for that. But I did manage to get a couple of runs in on La Face, which is their hardest black run. Huge, like ridiculously steep black run with loads of moguls. That's so much fun. Really, really enjoyed that. But then they did close that later on. The glacier area in Val-d'Isère is beautiful, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. There was so many times when I was skiing in Val-d'Isère, and it was just me on the slopes, and I was looking around, there was no one anywhere near me. And when my friend Benji came over and skied with me, he couldn't believe how empty it was. Whereas when you start to head over towards the Tignes side, and they're interconnected, so you can just ski between very easily, it does start to get busier. I find the snow is never quite as nice as it is in Val-d'Isère. The slopes aren't groomed as well, etc, etc. So I do prefer to ski in Val-d'Isère. I much prefer the town of Val-d'Isère. Tignes is not like horrible, but it's not the nicest ski town. But then I'm comparing it to things like Chamonix, Zermatt, Megève, Val-d'Isère. These are like real high quality ski resort towns that kind of spoil you a little bit. So yeah, Tignes, you know, I'm sure there's lots of people that absolutely love it, but once you've been to them other places, it's definitely a downgrade on those. But that's not to say it's not nice. It's not to say there's not loads of nice restaurants. And obviously the most important thing is the skiing, and Tignes has loads and loads of good skiing. So from there, I was actually meant to go on to Courchevel. And when I arrived at Courchevel on the last day, I looked at the weather and it was just white out, cloudy. And I just thought, oh, do you know what? I'm done. So I came home, and that was that. I cut off my trip a little bit early, believe it or not, and came back. Now, in terms of just conditions in general for this sort of early season skiing, a lot of people ask me questions about this. This is the second year in a row that I've left late November, so sort of, I don't know, I can't remember exactly where it was, but let's say the 20th onwards. Zermatt, Saas Fee, if Chamonix was to open on their early weekend, then you could have caught that as well. Val-d'Isère opens very early, and some of the individual Free Valley areas, for example, Val Thorens, that opens fairly early as well. there's good skiing to be had, and there is no one there. I mean, I am exaggerating, there is people there, but it's so quiet. Like, it is so quiet. It's my favourite time of year to ski by far. It's usually super cold, which it was for the first part of my trip, like ridiculous. At the top of the Matterhorn, -15, -20 on every single day. Absolutely freezing. I've never worn so many layers. However, my last few days in Val-d'Isère, it was basically spring conditions, less the slush. So that was a little bit disappointing, but I'm sure a lot of people love the warmer weather. I'm just a bit weird, and I prefer the snow and the cold. But yeah, a lot of people I'm sure would have loved that warmer, you know, spring type weather. I just don't really want to be seeing it in December when it should be brutally cold. But hopefully that cold weather is going to come back, because at the moment all of these places, even though they've had that early snow in a lot of places, they could really probably do now with a bit of a top up. I was watching Andy today from Snow Camps Europe doing his weekly weather report, and he was saying that, you know, they could do some snow over there, so that would be nice for those guys if they could get some good snow. I know there's a lot of areas in the Dolomites that have not had too much early season snow, so they could do with some snow. And even the places that have had great snow, you know, Val-d'Isère, Tignes, Zermatt, Saas Fee, all of these places, they're ready for a top up as well now. But actually in Zermatt now, and I'm recording this on like the 12th of December, I think, roughly, the whole of that is open now. Like literally everything. All of the interconnections are open. Cervinia's open all the way down to Val-d'Isère, down into Cervinia. Like the whole thing is open in early December, which is absolutely incredible. And I highly recommend this early season skiing. You've kind of got to time it right, and you do really want to be a little bit flexible in terms of your booking and make sure that actually the snow is going to be there before you commit. But on booking.com, you can say, you know, I won't pay until the day before I need to go or whatever. So I would book something like that. Don't pay, you know, your Eurotunnel or your flights can probably be changed, or book them last minute, and just wait and make sure that snow is there. But if it is, especially if it was like this year has been sensational. The conditions in Zermatt and Cervinia, well, and Val-d'Isère, they were as good as anything I've seen across every month that you can ski. They were fantastic, and you essentially have the whole of these places to yourself. I've put videos on social media, like when I was in Cervinia, and I'm at a major hub where loads of slopes connect into a particular lift. There was no one there. I could see like one person. Like these places are phenomenal early season. Again, like you could go over, see Andy at Snow Camps Europe in on the Kitzsteinhorn. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be fairly similar there, especially like during the weekdays. There's loads and loads of early season skiing to be had. Oh, and what you've also got to remember is it's cheaper. Everything's cheaper. Your travel is cheaper. Your accommodation is cheaper. Like not nigh on everything is cheaper. So please, please, please look into your early season skiing, but don't commit fully until you definitely know there's a decent amount of snow, because it could be that there isn't. But this year in particular, off the chart, incredible. I don't know if I'll ever see this type of quality of snow and sort of small amount of people for the rest of the season. Not ever, like ever in multiple years, but for the rest of this season, it was incredible. Loved my Stomp It Camp. And in fact, talking of camps, again, I was watching some of Andy's stories earlier. Andy has just done a bunch of camps in Pullin, Kitzsteinhorn, Zell am See. And all of the feedback he got, he was posting on his stories, and it was really, really lovely to see how much people had enjoyed Andy's camps. There, he put up like 5 or 6 reviews just saying, you know, enjoyed this, learnt so much, made friends, enjoyed the environment, you know, all this stuff. It's so lovely to see, because when you do go on a nice camp and you meet loads of people and you improve your skiing, it really is a lovely experience. And if you go back to the episode my wife did a couple of weeks ago, well, in fact, probably about a month ago now, on her experience on the Stomp It Camp. And I think I did one as well, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago or whatever. They're thoroughly enjoyable things. And it's not just that particular one, it's all these camps. And you could tell by the feedback that Andy had got from his camps, just how much people had enjoyed it. And I'd highly recommend that you look at doing something like that. So drop Andy a message, find out when the camps are, get yourself booked in. It's not going to be like absurdly expensive like the Stomp It ones are. You know, you're not going to like a ridiculously expensive place like Zermatt or I don't know, wherever else is expensive. You know, you're going to get a much more reasonable pricing. You're going to get great training. You're going to get, you know, really looked after in terms of the logistics and everything else. So yeah, go check out those reviews that Andy posted and definitely go book yourself on a training camp with Andy. I think would be fantastic for everybody because you're going to have that sort of lovely like camaraderie experience, make some new friends, new ski friends, and you're going to, you know, progress your skiing. And it really does feel rewarding afterwards when you sort of go off and you ski for yourself like I did in Val-d'Isère, like just on my own or with my friend, and you realise how much you've progressed and how worth it that camp was. So yeah, little shout out to Andy there. It was lovely to see all of those positive reviews and how much people enjoyed it, and I can relate to exactly how they felt. So yeah, that was my ski time over the last 3 weeks. 2 weeks tomorrow we head off again. There's a whole bunch of us. I'm not going to bore you to death with the details, but I'm going on a massive adventure. I'm going to so many different places. I'm going to La Rosière, Les Arcs, Sainte-Foy, Pullin, Zermatt, Three Valleys, Alps d'Huez, I believe, over a sort of 2 to 3 week period. Some people are there for some of it's just me, my wife and my daughter, but yeah, it's going to be a serious adventure. So I am looking forward to that, looking forward to sharing that with you as we go along as well. But let's get into some gear, ski gear, because there's some things I want to tell you guys about that I really kind of just want to share with you. Now, I did a video on my social media recently about, well, I did quite a few videos actually about heated gloves, and I've got quite a bit of experience with heated gloves. I own several pairs, like the geek that I am. I love testing them and seeing which ones are good and which ones aren't. And this company called Save Your Heat reached out to me and said, would I like to test some of their gloves, blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, I would love to test some of their gloves because I love testing things, whether they're good or bad. I didn't know what to expect. Now, these particular gloves, they are quite literally half the price or less than a really premium brand. So if you get a brand like Reusch, for example, their premium heated gloves, I think they're like £350, £400. I think the same for Hestra. There's quite a few of those real high level ones. And yes, they are amazing. I love my Reusch heated gloves. They are absolutely sensational. These Save Your Heat ones, they run from something like £150 to £180 or euros, depending on where you buy them from. And that to me sort of says a lot of things. Well, it says, first of all, wow, that's seriously good value if they're good, or they're cheap shit, like, you know, who knows what they're going to be like. So I had no expectations. Well, in fact, my expectations, I must admit, were probably quite low. Now, when I got them, I unboxed them, I did a video on it, and I was really, really impressed. Most of all with the features that they had. They seem to have sort of thought of everything in terms of features. They've got like a Bluetooth connection, they've got an app, they've got a battery meter, which most of them don't have, telling you how much battery is left. Good location for the button. Kind of unique look. If you're looking at this online, I opted for this, but you can just get black plain ones if you want to. I got something a bit more funky. They They've even got a little pocket on the front part of the hand. Lovely feeling interior, really well known components that they're made up of. You know, they've just got every single feature that you could possibly imagine. And I've used these a lot. And I also lent these to a girl that was on my Stomp It Camp, and I got her feedback about them as well, because she was freezing. And I said, oh, I've got a spare pair you can use. All I asked for in return is a little bit of feedback about how good they are. So yeah, these Saviour gloves, I don't really have much negative to say about them, because they're warm natively on their own. These are mitts in this case. They're very warm. The material on the inside is lovely. It's one of them things you just want to like keep feeling it, because it's just so nice. The battery lasts all day, literally all day long if you have it on like a medium. Charging the batteries is easy. You just plug them in overnight, let them charge, pick them up in the morning. On the palm, they've got this really like rough material, which is fantastic for grip. Tiny bit of like sort of almost discoloration, if you like, from where it's been used, but you would get that with anything. They look new, basically, apart from the palm, which has got this slight sort of white discoloration, but I mean, it's tiny. It's really tiny. It's got padding in the right places. They're warm. The battery lasts all day. The only negative I've actually got is on these particular ones, they have this really wide strap, and if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see. If not, you'll have to just sort of take my word for it. Around the wrist, they've got like this 1.5 inch wide strap. I don't like that strap. I would prefer that they either took the strap off, and I was hoping I could remove it, but you can't. It's sewn in. Or just make it like a pull string or something smaller, because where the battery sits underneath, the strap sits over the top. It's all just a bit cumbersome. It's not a deal breaker. It's not even close to a deal breaker. It's literally like a niggle. And I'm not even just being nice to them. I would just tell you the exact truth. They're fantastic. I really rate these a lot. And if you want heated gloves, if like me you have arthritis and it's a nightmare in terms of coldness, or you just don't want to get cold hands, it's 2025, why on earth would you? These are great. These are absolutely great. I would really struggle to say why you should spend twice as much on a premium brand. Now, admittedly, I've only been using these for like probably 14, 15 days in total, full days. So I'll be able to tell more after a full season of use. But yeah, these are great. I highly recommend these at the price point. I think they're brilliant value, and it amazes me that you don't see more of them on the slopes. So on to the next thing. This is a bit more of an entertaining item, but I want to tell you about it anyway. Pullin pants. So I know in the States people call pants like underwear or whatever, and they call trousers pants. In the UK, the thing you wear around your bits and pieces and your butt are pants. Okay, so just to make that clear, underwear, whatever you want to call it, we call them pants. Now there's this company called Pullin, Pullin, and they make quite a few clothes, but the thing that I like of theirs the most is their boxer shorts. They make these boxer shorts. They are fantastic. They're like stretchy, smooth, but they hold everything in place. And if you go to Val-d'Isère, you can actually buy Val-d'Isère Pullin pants. They bring a new one out every year, and the same in Chamonix. I don't know if there is other places. I think it might just be those two. So I've just got a new pair because this is the updated model for Val-d'Isère. But these Pullin pants, I highly recommend them. You can actually buy them on Amazon. You can buy them all over the place, but I like to buy them in resort. I've now got about 30 pairs of these, because when I go away for like 3-4 weeks at a time, obviously you need a fresh pair of pants every day. So that's my excuse for buying loads of Pullin pants. But I actually wear these outside of skiing as well. They are super comfortable, super supportive, which you need when you get to my age, and they're just very comfortable, like, and warm and everything else. They're not like thermal or anything, but they're just great. I literally love them. I've got so many of them and I use them all the time. Now, in addition to that, I actually got given these. So these are some Stockli undergarments. I actually got the socks as well. You got 3/4 length trousers and then a long sleeve top. I didn't really know what to expect from these. I quite like using things like icebreaker because I like having like merino wool type stuff. These are a very different material. They have merino in them, I think. Actually, no, maybe they don't. Yeah, maybe they don't actually. Polyester, polyamide, and elastane, or elastane. I think that's what they have. So maybe they don't have that at all. But these are great. I was really surprised with how good these are. I would never wear full length thermal trousers. I like them to only come down above the boot because I find that they dig in and cause all kinds of problems. So the 3/4 length is fantastic. And what I like about these is they're not quite as warm as like the merino options, even the thin ones. So if it's like not freezing, not like ridiculously cold, but also not warm, this is a great option. If it was like really brutally cold, I would like to wear my sort of icebreaker merino wool stuff. That adds a little bit more extra warmth. So yeah, that is my little gear update. I've got a lot of stuff to talk to you guys about when it comes to goggles and lenses, but we're going to do that in another episode. But one last thing I wanted to tell you about. Now, you guys know I've been harping on about these Oakley Meta glasses, which I love. And I've spoke about them in a previous episode. But what I did with these, because I want to use them more, than just for sunglasses, I found a company called Lensology, and Lensology actually make custom prescription lenses, and these ones are actually varifocal, so I can wear these like normal glasses. It just turned on. You can probably hear it talking to me. I can wear these like normal glasses, but they also have the HSTN lenses, so they tint as the sun comes out more. So because that light's on me at the moment, they have a slight tint. But if you were in darkness or not having direct light on you, they're normal glasses. Now I know they look a bit peculiar, like they're a bit comedy value, but they're so good I don't really care. So I now have full-blown prescription lenses in my Oakley Meta glasses, which I'm really excited to be able to use because I have obviously wear glasses. You can actually get prescription ones direct from Oakley, but they're very expensive. These Lensology lenses were way cheaper, and all you do is pop out the old ones, super easy, pop in the new ones, and bang, they're up and running. You send them over your prescription, you send them some measurements, this, that, and the other, and they create you these lenses. So if you do want to get like prescription lenses for your Meta glasses or your Ray-Ban Meta glasses or Oakley Meta glasses, Lensology, they can do that. I can't remember how much they were. They're not cheap, but they're also cheaper than buying them direct from the company when you buy them. I feel like I've got so much to talk about, but I don't want to waffle on too much in this episode. Let's just talk a little bit about the conditions in the Alps at the moment. Now, a lot of places, like I said, have had this early snowfall, and it's been fantastic because they've now got this incredible base. Loads of stuff is open that isn't normally open at this time of year, and everything is fantastic. But the last few days that I was there, i.e. this week, early days this week, and we're now on like the 12th of December, it was spring-like conditions. Now, luckily, it's still cold enough because of the time of year that it's not going slushy and it's not degrading the snow. But yeah, they really could all do with a bit of a top-up. I had a full powder day, by the way, in Val-d'Isère on the day that I arrived. We had like 30-40 centimetres in one day. It was absolutely incredible. I was out on the new 25-26 Storm Riders, which I've also got to tell you guys about. And they were just so much fun. I enjoyed every single minute of it. My Laser SCs and my Storm Rider 95s, I've upgraded to the newest versions. So I had the 24-25 versions. I've now got the 25-26 versions. Again, videos of all that stuff is on my social media. Stockli have just sent me through the exact technical differences between the two, and I'm about to make another video of that on my social media to do a comparison of the two models. Both my old iterations I have sold already, and that is another good thing about Stockli. It's a bit like Apple, they have good resale value, so you can sort of continuously upgrade if you want without losing too much money. Yeah, all in all, fantastic trip. Super humbled, grateful, learnt a lot. I'm looking forward to going again, this time with more people. And yeah, looking forward to Christmas, looking forward to everything. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are as well. I love hearing all your stories on social media all the time. I get so many that are like, I'm going skiing next week. I'm so excited. Do you think it's going to be good? This is where I'm going. Where shall I go? You know, I get loads of messages like this literally on a daily basis, and I love hearing it. I live vicariously through so many other people. When I'm not skiing, I read other people's stories they send to me about the fact they're going tomorrow. This is where they're going. This is where they're staying. This is where they're skiing. All that kind of stuff, and it makes me like super excited for them, which makes you feel good for yourself. So yeah, don't be afraid to send me those stories, guys. I am super humbled listening to all of them. I really do genuinely enjoy reading through those. And maybe in the next episode we'll do a Q&A. So if you've got this far, please drop me an email, drop me a message on social media, drop it in the comments below, whatever the case may be, with your questions, and I will answer them in the next episode, and we will do that. But yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching. I really do appreciate it. The views are going up and up and up, and considering this is just really a passion thing of mine, to have an outlet for my ski passion without annoying the hell out of everyone in the house. It's incredible really to see the volume and the numbers of people that we're getting listening to the podcast. On average, believe it or not, this podcast from a listening perspective is getting around 4,000 listens per episode, which is crazy. Even on YouTube, the views have started to go up. On social media, they're just wild, like ridiculous. You know, I can't even believe it. So thank you so much for everyone who listens, watches, especially if you get this far on into the episode. If you're a regular watcher or listener, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. We have listeners from all around the world as well. I'm not joking. When you look at the statistics, the analytics, like India, China, Russia, like America, obviously, UK, all that stuff, France, Germany, Switzerland. But some of the places you see in the list, and there's like 100 countries, it's crazy. So yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Love all your comments, love all your communication. I will do another podcast before Christmas, so I'm not going to say Happy Christmas and all that stuff just yet. But if you are off skiing, have the best time. Be safe on the slopes. Take care of yourself, take care of other people. God bless, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.